Hi, friends. Welcome to the Liz Teach podcast. And for those of you watching me on YouTube, welcome again. Sorry, I will find my words. I am so excited to share what is on my heart today. But first, just, a little update about what's been going on and why I have kind of been MIA for probably a month on podcast, but here on YouTube for a very long time. And it's just, as far as YouTube, it's just logistically and technology challenged person that I am. I couldn't record, but podcasting with the holidays, and then my daughter moved, my youngest daughter, Rebecca. And so there was just a lot going on. And it's crazy how one week turns into another. Horrible. But here we are. Happy New Year. And welcome once again to my podcast and my YouTube channel. So I wanted to share with you, just a little side note for those of you that are watching me on YouTube, that is my family behind me, my oldest daughter, my grandson, and my oldest daughter, Raquel. And then my youngest daughter in the black is Rebecca. That was actually for Raquel's 30th birthday party, that picture. So pretty awesome. A great time we had. Anyway, that's my family for those of you that can see. And so today I want to share about a subject that I have talked about it a couple of times, but it was mainly in my series on my podcast about marriage. But today I want to talk about communication in general. And I want to title this, Grow Up and Communicate. So I have realized recently how we all still need to mature in this area. But one thing in particular that has struck me is, I don't know about you, but when I was young, I did not make the best decisions. And so my decisions were idiotic. I wasn't an idiot. My decisions were idiotic and also immature, right? Because I was younger. And I really appreciated those that had grace towards me, to give me that learning curve, to give me time to learn, or also, all those words in there, helped me, right? Encouraged me, edified me, said, hey, maybe if you do it this way or that way. If anybody came at me yelling, screaming, like my mother tended to do, I couldn't hear. I couldn't follow instructions. And so, or other well-meaning people, quote unquote, I say, that would just come at me with information and not add some grace to it, or say, Liz, when I was young, I went through that. And we make these mistakes, but we can do better. Just, it's the approach, right, with which we communicate. And so I find that sometimes we get older and we forget the grace we needed, and we're not giving it to the young people around us. And they say things or do things that are idiotic, but then we call them idiots. We call them stupid or immature. Yeah, duh, they are immature. It comes with age. And so thankfully, as we grow up, hopefully we mature and we are able to communicate better than we did, or we should. And honestly, if you find yourself not communicating properly, that's an area that you need to mature in. And you need to examine, why am I approaching people this way? Why am I speaking this way? Why can't I have the same grace for younger people, for the younger generation that people gave me? We need to examine this, because we're hurting friendships, hurting familial relationships, because we are not communicating properly. And I wanted to read some verses on this subject, of course. Let me put on my eyes here. And it is found in James 1:19, and it says, "Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, not to speak. Quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger." And I love that verse, because you see the progression, right? So if you're quick to hear, slow to speak, you'll be slow to anger. It's a progression. And so we're communicating angrily, and it's so sad. Or we're not communicating at all. We think the silent treatment is healthy. My mom used to say, I'd rather not say anything, because I don't even know. People are not going to understand, et cetera, et cetera. But then she would wind up exploding later on, right? And then I tended to do the same thing. I'd hold it in because I wouldn't communicate that I was hurt. I wouldn't communicate that I felt disrespected, that somebody made me feel less than. And then I would treat that person a certain kind of way. And they had no idea how their words affected me. Because sometimes words affect us, right, in a certain way, and it has nothing to do with that person. It has to do with things that we haven't healed from childhood or from a marriage or from a relationship. And everybody in the future is suffering because of that. And so we're communicating with anger, we're communicating with bitterness that person didn't even create. Or let's say somebody offended you and you don't talk to them about it. Everything they do from then on is bothering you. We become petty Peter and petty Pamela. Everything they do. I've had conversations with people where they will tell me, oh, this person said this and this, or expressed this and this, and that was so wrong. And they'll share it with me, and I don't see anything wrong with it at all. And as we keep talking, if we backtrack, we realized together that I had something to do that happened a couple of months ago, a year ago, they never addressed, and now everything that person does now, they can't stand. Or we treat somebody today according to something they did years ago. Like we see our children are mature and we can't continue to treat them like when they were kids or teenagers. We got to cut them some slack. We got to give them a little credit. Some of them mature a little slower, granted. I understand that. But we just can't keep coming at people with anger and bitterness for things that they did and that we haven't resolved or communicated with them, but we expect them to know. So many misunderstandings, so just lack of communication because of unmet expectations and false expectations. But this person did this and this for me. Why can't they do the same? Because they're a different person. Did you express that's what you needed from them? And so we need to grow up and communicate. Proverbs 18:3 says, if one gives an answer before he hears, it is folly and shame. We're always ready to give a response, and we haven't even processed the information that we've received yet. I was talking to my sister yesterday how, sometimes we need to pause before we respond, right? And why am I receiving that information that way? Is that person really intending to hurt me? Is that person really intending to express themselves like that to me? Maybe we need to pause and try to understand. And if we don't, hey, I hear you tell me this. Is that what you intended? We need to stop ruining relationships over some petty nonsense because, whenever. On my birthday, they did such and such. So on July 4th, we're still harping on it. We're still upset about it. The person walks into the room, we shut down. And that person has no idea that we're feeling that way because we weren't mature enough, emotionally mature enough to express to them, hey, what you did, what you said hurt me. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about abuse. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about day-to-day conversations with people. And even in families, we say dumb stuff and we can offend each other. Once again, please, I'm not talking about day in and day out, somebody's abusive, cursing at you, hitting you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about normal conversations, or you expect something from somebody and they let you down. They weren't there for you, or they didn't pick you up, or they didn't include you. Recently my daughters told me that somebody reached out to them or they were in a conversation and the person said, oh, I thought you guys got together all the time. I was feeling left out. And I was like, that is so mature of that person to express that. In that moment, they had an opportunity to express it and they took that opportunity. They didn't let it go months and years. Oh, woe is me. Nobody includes me. Come on. So we need to grow up and communicate. Honestly, I don't know about you, but I want my relationships to be stronger, to be better in this year. I don't want to do the same things. I don't want to go on the same merry-go-round. I don't want to approach another year of holidays with angst and anxiety in my stomach because I'm going to be in the same room with so-and-so. We need to do better. And as Christians, when we read the word, it should convict us and convince us to do better. I want to read one more scripture before I finish this. And it says in Ephesians 4:29, let no corrupting talk come out of your mouth, but only as such is good for building up as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. That we would be building each other up. That when you walk into the room, people will look like, oh, we're going to have a good time. Oh, that person is going to bring a good time. They're going to edify. They're going to encourage. They're going to make me laugh. They're going to give me joy. That when we walk into a room, people are not white knuckling on a chair holding on, oh God, what's going to happen now? Because we don't communicate our feelings. We don't communicate when we are offended. Somebody can offend us, but we choose to grab that offense. We choose to hold on to it. We need to do better. All right, my friends. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. Let's grow up and communicate. Come on. And let's be kind to the younger generation. Let's have grace, the same grace. Don't treat them in their 20s like they're, still toddlers or young teenagers. They have grown up. Give them credit for every little bit of maturity that they reach, just the way you wanted it. Just the same grace and the same forgiveness you wanted for your idiotic stuff. You weren't an idiot for your idiotic stuff. Give that to somebody else. Give that to your family, your children, nieces, nephews, whoever that you love, your cousins. Let's give grace, the same grace we want, the same understanding we want, the same communication we want. How about we give that to others? Let's be clear with one another. All right, my friends. Well, that's it for this episode. I hope that helped, encouraged. Don't forget to share, comment, like, all that good stuff. I really appreciate y'all. God bless you. This is Liz on the Liz Teach podcast. Have an amazing day. Bye.